Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 847. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
This week is the final episode of our classic series commentary for Doctor Who, Planet of Evil. It's funny that, we drop these commentaries, we think, oh, well, it's going to be a slow news week. And then we start the first one. And then, because we're completionists, we have to continue the next 3 weeks with the rest of them. And then, news always seems to pile up. So once again, we have a longer episode. But if you want to stick around for the commentary, like all of our classic series commentaries, we stick vaguely to the point of the episode that we're watching, but it's not a direct direct reaction to what's happening. So I think our commentaries are listenable even if you're not watching the episode. That might be...
They're probably preferable if you're not listening to the episode.
That could be
or watching the episode, pardon me.
Because it's tough to sync up because, you never know when you're hitting play. And also, we're doing the North American copies because we live in North America. And that's,
Let's not beat around the bush. The main thing is we get distracted and start talking about irrelevant nonsense. So there's that. That's
also true. Speaking of irrelevant nonsense, the 90 minutes of banter that we had before we pressed record, which is a standard thing. Boy, I bet you miss that when we're not doing the live stream. Speaking of which, the live stream returns next week on this here Doctor Who podcast, which means our episode will be out slightly later because we're reviewing a new episode of Doctor Who. Can you imagine that?
No, my brain is still having a hard time believing next week is going to be a new episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah, and the last one for 6 months. We're doing a live stream on our YouTube channel. I would say 9:30 p.m. Eastern time is probably when. So basically, once the airing stops on CTV Sci-Fi and BBC America, although about that more later because it gets confusing. Hop on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Radio Free Skaro, and you can listen to us live for an episode that'll go out literally 12 minutes after it goes out live. But you can be there, you can participate. Don't say anything, obviously. We won't let you say anything. But
it's youtube.com/user/Radio Free Skaro.
Except in the comments, which you can say things in.
I think it redirects. To I think so.
I was doing what the Googles tell me.
Anyway.
It does too. There you go.
It does. Yeah.
What do you know?
I know, right? It's funny how the internet works. Before we get on to Legends of the Sea Devils and stuff, everything, there's that Michelle Yeoh movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I felt is basically what happened this week because, you wait forever for various Doctor Who DVDs and Blu-rays to come out, and then they just arrive at once. And this week we got the season 17 box set. Mm-hmm. And then 2 days later, Galaxy 4, the animated Galaxy 4. And
they both should have come out the same day, but that's just, Amazon's timing.
Honestly, I appreciated the staggering. But of course, the Galaxy 4 arrived with the same shipment for both of us, Chris, as our Lego Star Wars video, which also has been delayed and finally came out this week. So everything is just all at once. So... but you've actually you haven't dove into Galaxy 4, but you have watched a lot of season 17. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I was thankfully able to get through everything except Shada, so the first 5 discs.
Holy crap!
I've gone through.
Wow, everything. You watched the stories and everything.
I skipped the story for Creature from the Pit because we watched that not too long ago.
Because you haven't committed to memory, so there's that.
I've also seen it enough times. But I didn't bother with the new commentaries, for example, or anything like that yet. But I've watched all of them, and I did watch the episodes for, or the story, whatever, for Destiny and City of Death and Nightmare of Eden and Horns of Nimon. As much as anything, because both Destiny and Nightmare of Eden have rejiggered special effects. The Destiny ones, not so great, But
the Destiny ones are from the original DVD release. The Nightmare of Eden ones are specifically for this Blu-ray.
This, yeah.
But
the Nightmare ones, they make it look a lot better in some regards, anyway.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I've said before, I'll watch them first. I'll watch them once, and then I'll just go back to the classics. Because why are you watching Classic Who if not to see terrible effects? Come on,
right?
I guess, but as I've said to a few people so far, for Behind the Sofa, the pairing of Matthew Waterhouse and Colin Baker is just they're a treasure to behold.
Also, not to crap on the hard work people do with these new effects. I do appreciate that. I'm just a completionist, not the word. The traditionalist, I guess.
Yeah, I know. They're stepping on the first use of Quantel in Doctor Who. Nightmare of Eden featured the first use of Quantel in Doctor Who. And they're stepping on it. They're ruining my childhood is what they're doing.
I never said any of this, by the way. You did.
The reaction of Matthew Waterhouse to the unveiling of Arato is I love it.
I
think everyone probably, without even hearing it, I'm pretty sure we all share that reveal comment.
Just to harp on about Behind the Sofa, because I would happily pay for just Behind the Sofa as an extra over and above all the other stuff you get with the things.
Right.
But in a bit of a difference this time, there are one of the groups is Matt Irvine, June Hudson, and Graham Harper.
Yep.
So you kind of get this nice little conglomeration of effects and models and whatever that Matt Irvine's done. You get the costume stuff with June Hudson. You get the directorial perspective of Graham Harper, and it's nice. So for those who prefer or like the technical side of things, that's a great grouping.
It's mostly Matt Irvine apologizing for his mistakes in season 17 that he worked on.
Or June Hudson saying, "Oh, somebody else designed this story."
Yeah, I appreciate Graham Harper's, he was sort of like going like, this feels rushed, like when he was watching Creature from the Pit. He wasn't dumping on everything. He was just sort of saying, giving his thoughts on what happened and why it looks like it did. It feels like they're sort of rushing to get this in. I appreciate
or how it starts off well and there's no emotion, whatever, as the story progresses. And
yeah.
Having interviewed Matt Irvine, I know if you get him onto a technical detail, he will go into the greatest steps possible on it.
Yeah.
Which is great. I'm all for that.
Which kind of does here
too. I mean, as with anything for Classic Who, it's always fantastic when the people involved with it have the recollections of their work at the time that they do. Like June Hudson, for example, she's not a spring chicken, but man, her recall is amazing.
Well, it's funny because you watch them, like Matt Irvine's been talking about, he's been doing like seminars on his work on Doctor Who and written books, and June Hudson has probably done the same, and nerds like us never let them forget it, so we keep asking about it. So it's always sort of they're never more than like a year away from recalling what they were doing on Doctor Who. Meanwhile, no offense to Toby Haydock's podcast, Happy Times and Places, but he interviewed Tony Burrow, who designed 3 stories, including some of my favorite sets in Fort of Doomsday and Warriors of the Deep and everything, like these little modular sets that he used to make. They were great sets, but he's never been interviewed about them ever until now. Toby Haydock tracked him down and interviewed him, so he hasn't talked about them for 40 years.
So he hasn't thought about them in 40 years, probably.
So he doesn't remember much about them. Right. So really what I mean to say is that nerds like us are a treasure because we help keep memories alive for people who work on Doctor Who. So we are the most important people in Doctor Who fandom is what I mean to say.
That's quite the bumpy ride you took us on.
Speaking of keeping memories alive as well, there's a utterly fantastic hour or so long bit on Douglas Adams.
Oh, it's good.
Which is just gorgeous. But it's got Richard Dawkins and Lalla Ward and John Lloyd and
are Richard Dawkins and Lalla Ward in the same room at the same time?
No. They're not even.
I didn't think so.
Lalla Ward lives in Hong Kong these days.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
So they're not even on the same continent. But
it's probably for the best. Let's be honest.
There's actually a good. I can't remember who put it together. It might have been Paul Vanessa who put it together. There's a documentary on Lalla Ward Remembers season 17, and it's all taken from something they shot like maybe 10 years ago for the DVD range.
Yeah.
But it's all like relatively new. So they must have shot a lot of stuff that they just never used for that. But they managed to make like a pretty compelling, like just Lalla Ward telling her memories about season 17 and turning it into like a 50-minute documentary. So,
I mean, as with a lot of these things, it's also her telling the same stories as you'll see in other bits of VAM. But yeah, True. it was good because I started watching that. So I usually use the TARDIS wiki list of bonus features just to keep track of what,
because we don't have a book. Yeah,
just to keep track of what's new and what's not. And sometimes what would have been like maybe on the original City of Death DVD is now on like the Nightmare of Eden Blu-ray or something. Like they shift things up a little bit that way, so it makes it a little hard to keep track. But
here's what Lalla the Word needs to do.
I tend not to watch the stuff I've already seen. So when I started watching the Lalla Ward Remembers season 17 thing, I'm like, I can tell by the video how old this is. But I don't recognize it and I don't see it on the list. So I'll just keep watching.
All right.
Here's what Lalla Ward needs to do. She needs to host a special on, I don't know which disc, some Colin Baker thing, about all the abortive trips that JNT did from Hong Kong. She can host it. And so she can go to Singapore and she can go, here's where they would have gone if we'd actually done anything here, and just make fun of the whole enterprise the whole time.
Lalla Ward hosts a walkthrough, a location guide of potential locations for a story that never happened.
Exactly. And just slagging off JNT the whole time.
Legendary trip to Singapore.
And the feature length interview, Matthew Sweet thing this time is with Bob Baker, and sorry to say, I found that one to be a bit of a tough watch.
Really?
Because Matthew Sweet's trying to take Matthew Sweet, especially early on in the thing. Matthew Sweet's trying to take the conversation a certain direction, and Bob Baker's not really wanting to go there. He's trying to do his own thing, and there's this little butting of heads that just makes it a bit of a tough thing to watch at the outset. But it does get better.
Okay, that's good.
That's on the Nightmare of Eden disc, which yours is broken, right?
Mine was cracked. I know my Nightmare of Eden disc was cracked. It's so I had to send it. Well, I didn't send it yet. I'm getting the new version is arriving literally within hours of this recording. So I'll watch it when I get there. But I sort of stopped. I just watched the Behind the Sofas and the new documentaries. And I think that's it. I think there's a couple of little bits and bobs that some archive stuff. There's an archive thing from like 1999 with David Brierley, the voice of K9, which is new. I don't think I've ever seen that on the DVD.
Where they talked to him about having trained in ballet. Yep.
Yeah. So I watched that, but I sort of have been dipping in and out because, of course, I'm still watching a Doctor Who every day. I'm into Colony in Space now. So like there's that. And then there's this. And then I watched the two documentaries on Galaxy 4, which is a pretty good release because there's like new commentaries. Well, new commentaries, like the commentaries, because there hasn't been a release of Galaxy 4 before. And there's like a big one about the making of. There's a
and how we've both enjoyed how they've chosen to label the episodes on the discs as well.
Yeah, episodes 1 to 6 is on disc 1, and episodes 4 to 5 in color on, which is
impressive for a 4-episode story.
Very, very impressive. So I'm looking forward to that because, Galaxy 4 is obviously missing, and so we haven't seen, and there's the full complete episode 3 now and that huge chunk from episode 1. But there hasn't been any VAM or anything made about it. So I'm looking forward to that one, perhaps more because this feels like a completely new episode of Doctor Who to me, just because I haven't.
Well, I haven't watched. I haven't watched Airlock since was it on Aztecs?
It was on the Aztecs that came out.
That hour long reconstruction reconstruction plus Airlock on the Aztec special edition, wherever the heck it was.
Which annoyed me at the time because they worked it in. They worked it into the omnibus presentation and then they just
rather than a standalone presentation. But I haven't watched it in a long time, so I look forward to it. But also for us in North America who haven't been buying the UK releases anyway, this is the first one like this with a Blu-ray release.
And maybe the last. We're still waiting on word on the future of Doctor Who animated projects.
Abominable Snowmen. I mean, that's
yeah.
They're not gonna can that one at this point.
No,
But
that'll be Blu-ray. Yeah,
that'll be Blu-ray here as well.
Gary Russell told me on the panel that I moderated with him that the Galaxy 4, I think, was the last of a 6 story block, basically, contract that they did. Abominable Snowmen is the last one, obviously, but they threw in Galaxy 4, I think, perhaps in the eye of thinking let's start animating season 3. But obviously the funding for that's now gone from BBC America, who, as I have speculated many times on this podcast, is pretty much out of Doctor Who after Chris Chibnall's out of Doctor Who. So it's all sort of bleeding downwards, and that we don't have imminent animated releases, which is a shame because they put a lot of love and effort into these things. So
yeah, they do.
Yeah. Justin,
I
haven't even watched
the decency to watch any of it.
I know. I haven't even watched the animated bits of Galaxy 4 yet because, as I say, everything happened. And then we're trying to cram in, Lego Star Wars, trying to play that and stuff. And that's
all like 100.
I like how you guys act like this is some sort of a real tough job thing you have to do.
Yeah. And then you got to work on top of that and do other stuff. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's not fair. I don't get to play with this thing or that thing.
I know. Like, where were these things a year ago during the pandemic when we were all stuck at home forever? Now we're having to go back out into the world and fend off people who have code and everything else. And
no, you don't. No, see, that's what I love about people. They think you have to. No, you don't. I'm not. I'm sticking around at home.
Some people have to. Yes.
Yeah. Some people.
I know.
Warren,
some people never stopped.
Some people have the luxury, the three of us very much included, of being able to work at home, and a lot of people don't have that luxury. Yeah.
Okay, but those. All right, sure, but that has very little to do with VAM and Lego Star Wars. Let's be honest here.
That's true. Anyway, so I enjoy both sets. Weird how we don't have a release date for the season 22 set in the UK, which means we don't. I mean, it still says June, quote unquote June, here in North America for the Colin Baker set. In
despite already having at the BFI screening.
Yeah, that's really weird that they had an event without a release date, and so something tells me that there must have been a hiccup or something in the production of that too. Who knows? Maybe they thought, wait a second, we didn't run the Jimmy Savile filter high enough, and he's still in there somewhere. So we gotta.
By the way, there's a Netflix documentary about Jimmy Savile. I'm like, why would I subject myself to hours of that guy? Why would I do that to myself?
I was going to ask if either of you had watched it. I haven't.
No, I saw John Williams on X of Tachyon TV watched it. It's only 2 episodes, which obviously means it's not made by Netflix documentary, because that would be a 6-part series for no reason at all if it was Netflix. But it was obviously made by someone, and Netflix picked it up. And I mean, it's unpleasant, but I am intrigued to know it. So
I don't need to. The less I have to look at that gross, evil dude, the better.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for us, or at least for me, is we don't have the association that the Brits do.
Yeah, we didn't grow up with them,
so
there's that.
No.
So therefore, we can't share the disgust and disappointment that Brits.
Oh no, you can still be disgusted. I mean,
not in the same way.
Why would you be disgusted?
Not in the same way.
I suppose that's true. It doesn't cut as deep.
There isn't quite the betrayal, I guess, as a lot of Brits would feel.
Yeah,
that's true. I guess this is the equivalent of Mr. Dress Up somehow.
Or the Friendly Giant, or sure.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of betrayal, Doctor Who returns now. I have no idea what that segue is. Next Sunday, Legends of the Sea Devil. There we go. We're like 20 minutes in. We're finally talking about the episode of Doctor Who that airs next. Listen, we've got a lot of time between now and November 2023 for our one other episode other than this to air. It's going to be, this is going to be a pretty fellow time for Doctor Who. I won't lie to you. Especially when promotion. One thing I'm going to rant about promotion, because I suppose the BBC is, hey, they told us the time. We now know what time it's airing. That came out like less than 2 weeks before the episode actually airs. It's airing at 7:10 p.m. on BBC One before Country File, in a shocking development. There's a Country File special that's obviously a little blue for the kids that it has to air at a later time.
Would that be classified as a farm crime?
Post watershed Country File.
Post watershed Country File special. Obviously, they're going to some nudist farm where they're planting, I don't know, begonias or something like that.
Please don't continue that thought. How about
so this is what Doctor Who has to put up with. What's fascinating is that I mean, the episode itself is only 47 minutes long, which is relatively short for a special. What's also intriguing is that the BBC America tweeted out that the global simulcast, global premiere, that they call it, was beginning at 2 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. on the dot. They then, a few hours later, amended that to 2:10 p.m. because to keep in line with BBC One. So even like they had a graphic made up and everything. 2 p.m. Oh wait, no, it's 2:10 p.m. So obviously there's some falling down behind the scenes of who's promoting what and who's telling what. Here in Canada, meanwhile, CTV. Remember those days of Space where like there was personality to that TV station and it was airing Doctor Who and they cared about it and everything else. You'd see promotions and stuff. And then
fall down if you don't get up.
Right. CTV just sort of swallowed up that and just relabeled it, rebranded it as CTV Sci-Fi. It's just basically another automated strand of their technology development and deployment. And
and their massive Twitter tweeting schedule.
So
honestly, I started watching Mighty Trains on Crave just for a Teddy Wilson fix to make me feel like I was watching Inner Space again.
He was on Inner Space. So I decided, well, I mean, we haven't seen a single announcement from CTV Sci-Fi when it's airing. You sort of have to just consult the TV schedule to say, okay, it's at 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain, which is why we're doing our live stream at 7:30 p.m. local time. Slot. Yeah. You go to the Twitter, you go to the CTV Sci-Fi Twitter account, and they haven't tweeted, period, since March 21st. They tweeted twice in March altogether. They said, can you believe it's been a year since something happened on Star Trek Discovery? That happened on March 8th. And then on March 21st, hey, look, all 3 Hobbit films are on now.
Hold on, something happened on Star Trek Discovery? What are you talking about?
That, I don't know, a year ago. Can you believe this happened a year ago? So they were basically doing a throwback Thursday. That would happen in March. And then their second tweet in March was the Hobbit films are on now. And that's been it. That is the promotional arm of the Canadian home of Doctor Who at work.
How does any of this surprise you?
Well, it doesn't surprise me. It's just sad and alarming and depressing. And
in a way, we've traveled back to our early days of fandom when nobody cared about Doctor Who.
A little bit, and what's kind of doing for me now is it's, I hate to say this, but it's kind of casting a pall on how I'm thinking about how this era is wrapping up, and I feel like it's falling in between the cracks of who is currently in charge of running it and promoting it and waiting for the new shiny, which of course we think is going to be the old shiny for at least the first part when all of the greatest hits from 2008 come back. But like, it's just feel like I'm almost thinking that, like, let's just get this era over with so we can actually have people who care about, because obviously they don't care about it right now. I mean, we're just like, find it yourself, whatever, it'll be out there. Here's what time it is. It's airing before Country File, I guess. Here's a couple photos that have already appeared. That have already appeared in Doctor Who magazine. They say, they released new photos. Yeah, but they've already come out already. So
having said that, you may be blaming Chibnall. I'm sure he's somewhat to blame for this because he doesn't promote anywhere near as much as RTD and Moffat did. But you are focusing on the only person you know about. Like, there are drones in BBC somewhere who are also dropping the ball here.
Well, it's hilarious because
back in, even though, up to the Moffat days, there were people like Teddy Russell who were employed to do this promotion that aren't there.
Yeah, it's a systemic failure. It's not just him. He just happens 100%. To be the face of it.
I miss the brand manager days. That position of brand manager, I didn't appreciate it until it went away. I can't believe that. So the Doctor Who promotion of Flux is up for a Webby Award apparently, and so they put together a show reel of why they think hey, there's what we did and everything, and they actually boldly celebrated the fact that they shut down all their media channels the weekend before. It's like that everyone just sort of thought, what the hell's going on? Why did all the things disappear? Nobody thought, oh, what's gonna be happening? No, because of the track record of the past 4 or 5 years with Doctor Who promotions, we all thought that, oh no, somebody deleted it. Like
you have to remember,
right?
You have to remember, Webby Awards are marketing people patting other marketing people on the back.
All
aren't
awards
nerds who enjoy
awards
Doctor Who. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what do you expect to see from this? It's a bunch of marketing people going, "Oh, brilliant! Oh, you're more brilliant than I am." No, you're more. No. Who cares? Like, it's just I'm not saying you're wrong, because it was a dumb idea. But
it was dumb.
Don't expect people who came up with that dumb idea to say they were wrong about it. It's not going to happen.
Over and above the greater propensity for promotion and the bombast of RTD, who will presumably, kind of make things a little more prominent once he's
Moffat
formally
had his moments of bombast too. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Once he's formally behind the reins, but with so much falling on the shoulders of Bad Wolf versus BBC Studios, Bad Wolf has a little more vested interest in being more promotional, perhaps, than BBC Studios or the BBC might. Because it's just such a for the BBC, it's such a, I mean, it's a big thing, but it's a small thing, versus Bad Wolf, where it's going to be a lot bigger of a thing proportionally. So they have more, not reason, but they definitely have more of an intrinsic drive to want to get the word out that the BBC obviously has decided isn't worth the effort, with things like removing the brand manager per job.
A lot of this can just be organizational inertia too. Like, it could just be the wrong set of people, in our estimation, are in charge of this particular set of things, like being on the BBC side, not the Chibnall side, and they just don't care. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like, that's just how business is, and this is not really a business, but that's just how these giant organizations work. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense unless you're inside it.
Other changes as well that I think technically are still on the horizon, or I don't know if they've happened yet, but like Piers Wenger's departure from the BBC, where he used to be a producer on Doctor Who, so obviously he's got a perspective different than whoever is going to be replacing him, and so
I guess the way I'm looking at it is like, look at all these people who try to divine what Apple's doing to juice up the stock. But people who try to divine, just as an example, Apple, because it's one I know about, none of them have a clue what's going on either. Like, unless you're inside and you're Tim Cook or 5 other executives, you don't know what the game plan is 5 years out. So we have no clue what, if any, plan there is. And it sounds like there isn't one. But
I mean,
who knows what the BBC's up to?
RTD will have their own. RTD will have their own. Like, RTD is this entity up. Essentially, they are. Bad Wolf will have their own promotional outfit doing now. I don't know when that takes over. Like, obviously the current promotion team has to sort of bring the Jodie Whittaker era to a close in whatever, I imagine we'll find out a week and a half before her finale airs on the 100th anniversary of the BBC. That's, oh, by the way, here's where Doctor Who is happening.
I'm not defending them, by the way. I'm just trying to figure out how I always describe a competence before a conspiracy, because that's usually how it works. Human beings are fallible creatures.
Oh, Warren, believe me, I don't think this is a conspiracy. I just think it's complete indifference. Indifference.
You're probably right.
It vaguely reminds me of a little bit of series 10 of, because, for instance, we don't remember in series 11 and 12, literally within days on like iTunes, we had Sega Nakanola's soundtrack dropped, and we haven't had that for Flux. And we don't have Eva the Daleks anywhere on Blu-ray. I'm hoping that like the last 3 specials come out as a set, is what my hope is, so we don't have to buy like 3 different discs for 3 stories, and maybe the music will come out that way too, but maybe it won't. Who knows? It just feels like we're sort of in the between times right now.
Here's another way to look at this. Look at the absolute clown car that is British leadership right now. Well, why are you surprised that people from the same class of people that usually get elevated to high positions are also complete clowns?
Well,
we just don't know their names.
It's not just I mean, it's we've been complaining about CTV Sci-Fi. There's no care for it on this side of the Atlantic either, and I feel like BBC America's doing okay, but I also think that, as I've often complained about, the promotion site has not been updated since mid-October of last year, and I feel like they're kind of just winding it down as well.
Another way to look at it. Yeah. Us pining our hopes for something we really care about on a bunch of TV executives is the dumbest thing we could possibly do.
That's true.
Why would we think any of them have a clue?
So I'm beating the drum to get Doctor Who off of BBC One. Warren, I want to kill off the stats segment. We only have the stats segment now to
Finally, we agree
to satirize the existence of it. It's a nuisance. Here's the other extreme, which I think is a bit dumb, but also shows what you can do when you have control over your own entity. Star Trek Picard, halfway through season 2, drops a teaser for season 3, saying that everyone from TNG is back for the most part, which I thought odd timing when you're halfway through. But you know what?
A touch mismanaged. Yeah,
stick it out through this season because we got a lot of fun stuff happening in season 3. But it's what you could do. Look at this. We already know what's going to happen in season 3 and when it's going to come and when it's going to air. We know when Strange New Worlds is going to come.
I wonder if that got released because it was going to get leaked out anyway.
Or by listen, this is a franchise that leaks their own surprise appearances in their opening credits.
That's true.
I mean, you know, who knows? But so yeah, there's I feel like sometimes you can tell too much, sometimes not enough. Somewhere in the middle is where Doctor Who, I think, should be. Don't say, hey, halfway through maybe BBC America, the airing of Legend of the Sea Devils will announce the next Doctor or something like that. That would be kind of weird.
I think we as fans are guilty of a little overly zaprudering this whole thing. So there's that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's, as I say, it's going to be after Sunday. Pretty much this time next week. We will have one episode of Doctor Who left for 18 months. And,
is that the longest gap we've ever faced, though?
Even the gap year, at least we had we had Planet of the Dead and then Mars.
But between seasons, we've had a year's worth. I'm pretty sure.
Well, we had a year between Christmas specials at one point. Yeah,
yeah, 2016. Yeah, Doctor Who decided to take that year off, the year from hell, which in retrospect was not a bad thing.
Can't really blame him for that one.
Yeah. And so that was a year, but that was a year. I feel like this is going to be 13 months in between Jodie's last episode and Neo Tennant's return in November of 2023.
Did you just say Neil Tennant?
Neo Tennant.
No, I know that, but I want to see Neil Tennant from Split Ends and Crowded House appear on Doctor Who for no particularly good reason.
Is that Pet Shop Boys? I think it's Pet Shop Boys.
Oh, you're right. It is.
That's where David Tennant took the name Tennant.
You are absolutely correct. I am wrong.
That's all right. Anyway, thus ends our weekly complaint about BBC marketing when it comes to...
And CTV sci-fi marketing. And
oh my God, CTV sci-fi.
You can't complain if it doesn't exist.
That's true, and it doesn't. It
you
doesn't
complain
exist.
I know.
I haven't watched any TV really, and I certainly haven't watched any Bell Media channels in the last little while to see if there's actually been a TV ad for Legend of the Sea Devils airing on Space, because I don't know, maybe even on Space. I keep calling it Space. Maybe I should just put on CTV Sci-Fi on somewhere in the background one day and just to see if I got rid of it. Any promotion.
Nothing but next gen reruns, which I can watch on Netflix anyway or wherever.
Yeah, I doubt there is, because usually I know for BBC America anyway, when they show a trailer, they'll have like the BBC America dog in the corner, or they'll tweet about it or whatever, and CTV Sci-Fi is, done nothing of the sort.
No. Oh, what times to be alive. It's great. It's fantastic. Anyway, there's a new Doctor Who podcast, believe it or not. This, speaking of somewhat confusing launches, like 1 a.m. for us, 8 a.m. in the UK, they announced, hey, there's a Doctor Who podcast coming. And everyone went, what? And then they had a picture, and there's like Jodie Whittaker and Charlie Craigs and Juno Dawson on there. And it's like, and if you look at the photo, you think, wait a minute, it looks like there's going to be like a Doctor Who podcast and Jodie Whittaker is hosting it. No, it's a drama podcast. But they didn't mention that in the early parts of the actual release. It was mildly confusing. But it's a dramatic podcast about people in the Doctor Who universe. It feels kind of like
how
Love
long
and
ago
Monsters.
they recorded this, because I bet it was a while back.
I don't know how long ago this was. Yeah, like was it post Flux? It's probably post Flux.
I wonder if it's been sitting around. Yeah, well, I guess we'll know if we know the story ties into Flux. But I wonder if it's been sitting around and they've been waiting for the right time and failed utterly releasing at the right time.
I don't know. It's coming out April 17th, which is basically right after Legend of the Sea Devils. It's going to be available on BBC Sounds. Actually,
which I downloaded just for this.
I have it too. I don't know if I've listened to anything on BBC
I
Sounds.
also
By the
told
way,
them I'm in the UK just in case my VPN shenanigans. get
correct me if I'm wrong,
confounded by
Chris.
that.
I think you listen to BBC Sounds worldwide, can't you? I believe that's the case.
The short answer is yes. I'm trying to think if there's been any times where that hasn't been the case.
Right.
But whatever. So BBC Sounds is just whatever gets put out on BBC Radio and podcasts and all that kind of stuff. And I've never run across any sort of geolock on anything from there.
Hey, as long as we're bitching about geolocks, can I please, as per usual, complain about Star Trek and their insane love of geolocking?
It's dumb.
Because like Chicago, whatever the Trek Chicago thing is that's happening this weekend is happening now. And so they're releasing all these trailers and teasers and stuff. And I mean, okay, I have to wait 10 minutes for somebody else to post it. But still, it's just so annoying that in this era of watching Star Trek wherever and whenever, I can't see a trailer because it's geolocked for no good reason.
Mm-hmm. Very dumb. But I don't think BBC Sounds is. Anyway, the cast is cool. I mean, they have a trans woman as the lead character, which is awesome. And I love the fact that Charlie Craig has never watched Doctor Who before. I love that. You don't have to be a diehard fan to actually be a star of a Doctor Who related thing. It's kind of cool. Lois Chimimba, who is in the Saranga Conundrum with everyone's favorite swearing footballer from Ted Lasso. He's in that too.
Yes.
Madam Vastra is not being played by Niamh McIntosh. It's Dune McKitchen.
I'm not sure.
McKitchen. Anyway, she of the Day to Day and all of the all those shows, and of course Jane Plough from Toast of London. So she's that.
Yes.
Kate Stewart, Osgood is also back. Anthony Mohindra as Ronnie is in there too somehow.
Gemma Redgrave. Yep.
Gemma Redgrave is Kate Stewart. Yep. So it's a whole 10-part series. Delving into the history of Doctor Who. But again, going back to my my complaints about promotion of Doctor Who, because I've seen this I think Chris Chibnall has been asked this several times too. So this seems to be the running thing. I love this. Can anyone listen to the podcast even if they've never watched Doctor Who before? There seems to be a thing about, hey, you don't have to ever watch Doctor Who. Please, Simon. I know. I'm at two minds about that, because I kind of like that they're saying, hey, here are the 8 shows that you need to have watched before you listen to this podcast. But also, I feel like at some point we should maybe be enticing people to watch Doctor Who, as opposed to you don't have to have watched Doctor Who to.
I'm just
to
looking
enjoy this.
over the press thing here, and I just noticed that they misspelled Anjali Mahindra's name. There's one too many I's in her first name.
That makes it an official press release, because it's not an official press release unless there's a blatant spelling mistake in there. So anyway, so there you go. April 17th. I'm assuming they're going to be doled out weekly, or maybe it'll be begin alongside. It starts on April 17th. Maybe I don't know what time of day.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. It'll start April 17th. I wonder when it will drop. Will it drop before the Easter special airs?
Episode 1 will be available following Doctor Who's Legend of the Sea Devils on Easter Sunday.
It's like I asked that question for you to answer, Chris. I did.
Or for me to read the last paragraph of the press release.
Well, there you go. So it's not just
either
me
way.
talking.
Either way.
That's fine. Yeah. So there you are. One more reminder before we move on from Legend of the Sea Devils. Live stream begins 9:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Standard Time on next Sunday, April 17th, on our YouTube channel. For listen to our immediate thoughts of the Easter special, the penultimate story in Jodie Whittaker's run on Doctor Who. That slight bit of tension and nervousness that you might sense from the people who regularly attend Gallifrey 1 is in the air right now, because May 6th is when the LAX Marriott reservation block opens up for booking. Tickets, by the way, are on sale for the convention. That is not expected to sell out within seconds. The hotel block is. It is Hunger Games. It is Hotel
Highly
Hunger
competitive.
Games. Yeah, so gird your loins, people who are attending Gallifrey 1. You must have a paid ticket already. That's a new thing. You can't just sort of like rent a room, book a room and like sort of hum and haw whether or not you're gonna actually go to the convention or not. So yeah, you gotta commit. You gotta commit to it. So which we've already got tickets. So yes, we'll commit to getting this. So yeah, so there you go. May 6th, Friday, May 6th, noon Pacific Daylight Time. Is when Hotel Hunger Games begins. best of luck. So there, that's gonna be fun. And we have yet to even have a guest announcement for Gallifrey 1, but we know it's gonna be a good time.
Like every other time, like that's nothing new.
No, nothing new at all. Even in the times of pandemic, Warren. Even in times of pandemic.
Indeed.
Chicago TARDIS has added Sophie Aldred. That's carrying on in November of this calendar year. Sophie Aldred joins Jason Haig Ellery, Fraser Hines, and Sylvester McCoy for the guest list there. So yay, people are starting to come back to conventions again. Hip hop hooray! Maybe they'll release geolocked trailers at Chicago. They won't do that.
One can only hope.
They won't do that. This is funny because I believe we probably talked about this on the news, just ripping and reading from something that Chris probably saw on the internet on a site, and we informed you all about it and then promptly forgot about it. And then I was like flipping around on my Samsung Smart TV the other day, and I noticed, what is this Doctor Who classic thing? And there is a channel. If you have a Samsung Smart TV, there is a channel, 1428, dedicated to just playing classic Doctor Who.
Really? I have one. I have it right here in this very room.
Warren, you can watch it. 14 on TV Plus is what it is. It's a little thing on the Samsung Smart TV. It's put on my BritBox because at the end there's a BritBox slate at the end of each episode, so it's a BritBox sort of related thing.
Oh, then I might as well just watch it on BritBox because
you could do that too. Well, the funny thing is, you could just turn it on and there's classic Doctor Who. At last report, like they were ripping through it because I was watching Seas of Death episode 6, and then I checked like a day later. And I think, or 2 days later, and they're on like the 3 Doctors. So they are plowing through these things. But yeah, so this is something we probably said back in October and promptly forgot about. But
here's what's going to happen. I have to find my Samsung TV remote because my cable remote controls everything that I need on a TV. And then I have to actually remember to do this. So it's probably not going to happen.
To check it out. Okay. Chris, you don't have a Samsung Smart TV, do you, at all?
I don't have a Smart TV, full stop.
Oh, okay.
I have barely ever used the Smart TV functions on my Smart TV. I have an Apple TV and a cable box. I don't need them, really, so...
Right. I know. I mean, I don't need... It's a fun thing as I turn it on this very second, and it's 3 Doctors again. Doctors chewing out...
I'm not against it. I'm lazy, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Right. It's just neat. It's just kind of neat to sort of say. I kind of do wish it was a bit more random in a way, just because you just, what's on? Oh, look at this. Kind of like Pluto TV, I think, in the States has a Doctor Who channel. It's a little more random as opposed to sequential. But you know what? It's just kind of neat to have, hey, here's Doctor Who on the TV. It just happens to be on the TV, just like the good old days. You know, it's kind of charming.
Well, it didn't just happen to be on the TV. We stayed up till 11 at night and watched a KSPS. Let's be honest.
That's true. We did. And we liked it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm not complaining.
God darn it. This is an amazing photo that popped up today on Twitter. The 1976 edition of Bishop Briggs Times, like a local paper in the UK, had a picture of a young Doctor Who fan, about 18 years old, meeting former Doctor Who Jon Pertwee at some sort of event and looking very gleeful at having done so. That young, gleeful 18-year-old is one Peter Capaldi. It is an amazing photo. We tweeted it out. It's been on Twitter all day today, but links in the show notes at RadioFreeScaro.com. Look at that giddy, happy kid meeting his hero.
It is pretty great.
He has a big smile on his face, yeah.
Massive smile. He's like 2 or 3 years away from being in a punk band with Craig Ferguson, and he's like about 4 decades away from being Doctor Who himself. Yeah, it's just great. Also, there's
breaking news. I have found my remote, so I will probably be participating.
Well done. There's also Rachel Talley. Obviously, met up with Peter Capaldi recently because she tweeted a photo of her and Peter Capaldi together somewhere, wherever they are.
She's cosplaying the Third Doctor, kind of.
I don't know. I don't know if she is or not.
I mean, she isn't really, but yeah.
No. Capaldi's looking very cool, looking over his shades there that he's got on because Peter Capaldi is forever cool. And, of course, everyone speculated, well, if Peter Capaldi and Rachel Talalay are in the same room together, obviously they're making Doctor Who, because what else would they be doing with their lives?
We lack so much imagination, we fans. It's amazing. It really is breathtaking how little we can think of.
Yeah.
And I include myself here.
Mm-hmm. You know, they know each other. I know that Rachel Talalay has been in Cardiff as of late. She's tweeted as such. You know, but they make lots of things in Cardiff. You know, they're not making Doctor Who right now. I'll say that because Russell T Davies and Bad Wolf are making that 3-part series Nolly. Is it called Nolly? I think
Nolly, yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
With Helena Bonham Carter. That just started production like last week or something like that. So
Yep.
So here's my question to you,
yeah.
Stephen. If,
Right.
in fact, they didn't have David Tennant coming in as the ersatz doctor and they had Peter Capaldi come in, what would your feeling be about it then?
I would want it, Warren. I'm very sorry. You're right. I am a hypocrite. I would 100%.
To be fair, I think I would be 10%. I'd still think it was a dumb idea, but I'd 10% less think it was a dumb idea.
Yeah, because it's Peter Capaldi, who
basically which is hypocritical of me as well. So
put me on the spot, and Peter Capaldi is my favorite Doctor. And that's after years of growing up with Tom Baker, that's a thing to say. I know yours is Matt Smith, but man, I miss Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, Matt Smith's my favorite new Doctor. Tom Baker's still the king.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I mean, I love Jodie Whittaker, but I would have loved another season of Peter Capaldi. Just adore his Doctor so much. So there you go, Peter Capaldi in the news from 1976 and today, with people involved in Doctor Who. Speaking of looking back in the history of stuff, it's time for the Time Lash, everyone, where we dip back in history and look at various production day. Actually, John Nathan Turner's production diary, a book from Richard Molesworth, is coming out on May 1st. We're going to have Richard Molesworth on the show to talk about it on that day. And I'm looking forward to perhaps adding in elements of John Nathan Turner's days, the ones that are in the book. Not other things. Not the trip to Singapore. We will not be featuring the trip to Singapore.
No, we need Lila Ward to be on the show for that to happen, as we've already established.
But it'll be intriguing to see what happened on what particular day during the Time Lash.
You mentioned your own colony in space in your daily walkthrough.
I know what you mean. Yeah, Colony Space Episode 1 aired April 10th, 1971, with Michael E. Bryant's directorial debut on Doctor Who, not knowing how
Yes.
Doctor Who TARDIS materializations work.
Maybe he should have watched that YouTube video that you profiled last week.
Right?
Back in 1971 when he made this.
He should have done that.
He should have popped ahead 51 years into the future to watch this YouTube video just to go back and learn.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything worse than popping 51 years in the future to watch a YouTube video. Imagine seeing Mr. Beast talking to you and going, "Oh, we're doomed. Okay, got it."
I want to just a late breaking news. I just saw BritBox account tweet out that Jeopardy will be having their own Doctor Who category on the April 12th edition of Jeopardy, which coincidentally I think is Peter Davison's birthday is April 13th. I watched The Matrix twice, and I have no memory of it, but I remember what Peter Davison's birthday is. Of
course you do.
There. So Jeopardy, April 12th, there'll be a Doctor Who specific category. Just wait for all those... Oh, no answer? Okay. No, the answer is this. Looking forward to it.
The answer to all 5 questions is Daleks.
Yeah, I got to PVR that. I got to PVR that one. Back when we, used PVRs. Beast Below, Stephen Moffat's least favorite Doctor Who episode that he wrote for his own Doctor Who thing. The second episode, the Andrew Gunn's penultimate episode, directing in Doctor Who, aired April 10th, 2010.
Calling that Andrew Gunn's penultimate episode seems a little odd of a phrasing, but okay.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not wrong.
You remember that? I mean,
first, second, last, or I guess there's more than,
Series 5 is possibly the best modern Who series there is, but it's funny how The Beast Below is a bit iffy and Victory of the Daleks is really iffy. And that's like, in retrospect,
that's how it starts off, yeah.
Yeah, we must have been
Is that down to direction, though?
Yes.
I like The Beast Below. I'm unapologetically a fan of The Beast Below.
I'm fine with it. Victory of the Daleks is pretty mad.
Victory of the Daleks is another story, but
that's more Mark Gatiss' fault than it is the directing's fault.
But there's some directorial stuff that is weak. The guy who plays Book, the actor who plays Book in Star Trek Discovery, is in The Beast Below. I didn't know that. I totally forgot that. Yeah, he's in there.
He also played Manchester Black on whichever CW stuff, CW Arrowverse stuff.
Oh, stuff I don't watch. Gotcha.
Yeah, you're on your own there, Chris. I'm sorry. Was he in Duchess of Duke Street? Lala Ward is. She mentioned it in the
Let me put it
VAM
this way: I'm
in season 15.
semi-apathetic about Star Trek content. I'm out of my way to go apathetic, which is contradictory with CW content.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Speaking of Rachel Talalay, it pays the bills for Rachel Talalay.
That's true. Yes,
So-
I'm glad she's able to pay the bills with the CW content, and it does add to the Vancouver economy. I'll give it that.
Yep, and
There
we're
we
close
go.
to home and all that. Yep.
Yep. Let's see here. April 11th is a big day. We get the Keys of Menace, episode 1, The Sea of Death, debuted on April 11th, 1964, featuring the first ever on-screen realization, speaking of dematerializations, of the TARDIS materializing. It was a model shot at the very beginning of episode 1. How about that? Maybe Michael E. Bryan, he didn't need to watch the YouTube thing. He just had to watch The Keys of Menace episode 1.
Again, we will always find new and unique ways to waste the potential of time travel.
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't have to. It was already there. It might have even been in the archive still in 1970. It was only 7 years old. They wiped it long ago.
Avengers saved the
but-
world through time travel. We have people travel back and forward in time to view VAM, apparently.
I would do that.
Of course you would. I'm not surprised.
Planet of the Dead.
Planet of the Dead, 2009. The first
Yeah.
Easter, the penultimate Easter special, if you will.
Disappointing. Disappointing.
Remember that? Remember when we were? Oh boy! So 2009.
Okay, so speaking of the
Okay.
RTD hype train, which you seem to love so much, remember when
What?
we hyped up how amazing these bugs are, and then we saw them, we're like, they're
That's
bugs in
true.
overalls. Who cares? Like, whatever.
And credit to RTD for the quick rewrite to incorporate the bus that got damaged in transit to Dubai.
Here. Yep, that was a good thing. First episode in HD. The first
Yeah.
episode
That's some
that
good looking
aired
sand.
about like 3 months later. It aired on BBC America. That was the first episode to air on BBC America. And everyone thought, wow, it only took 3 months for them to air it because Sci-Fi was airing it before that. And they were like, whatever. We'll air it like 9 months later or whatever it is. But BBC America took it over with Planet of the Dead. And they had like a Comic-Con panel about it. And yep, this is an episode that aired 3 months ago.
2 years later for Series 6, we had day and date.
Amazing how far we've come. And then, sort of fallen off again. But Planet of the Dead, the bus special, which was the last episode we had for 7 months. And that's why I kind of like went, if this was a mid-series 4 type of episode, thinking, that was kind of fun. Neat that they went to Dubai for an episode. Let's see what's happening next week. But the fact that it was like, and it was like the only thing for 7 months is sort of like,
And the irritating scientist. Let's not forget him.
And
that's right.
the Malcolms.
It's bad,
And
the
it
Evans.
honestly should have been 8.5 months, really, because Waters of Mars was originally going to be a Christmas episode.
That's true. And then they said,
Mars
we'll
was
choose
great.
one
Let's
more.
just sing the praises of Waters of Mars. It's still excellent.
We probably already did.
It is.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do it again. It's excellent. Yeah.
November 15th, as I recall. That was like that was a Sunday as well that aired. What's obviously Planet of the Dead. Was that a Sunday? I think it might have been a Sunday.
It was Easter Sunday.
It was your Sunday, yeah. What did we do for a review back then, I wonder? I don't remember what we did for a review back then because we didn't.
We foamed at the mouth in joy over it because it was very
I
good.
don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to look it up afterward.
You know what? I remember this. I remember that we tried a gimmick where we literally talked about every other thing apart from Doctor Who. Apart from the episode in Doctor Who, and then we kept the gimmick was we kept thinking, is there something else we should be talking about? No, never mind. Next news item, and then at the very end of the episode, we thought it would be clever. Oh, right, there was a new episode of Doctor Who, and we reviewed it. I remember that. That's what we did on this podcast on April 11th, 2009. Maybe not our most successful jape in history, but what are you going to do?
Have we had successful japes?
Many successful. Not really, but. April 12th. April 12th, of course, 2022, Jeopardy featured a category on Doctor Who. On
this day in 2011, we released our Tristram Carey miniscope.
Right? That's true. Not the Carrie Blyton one, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I can't remember. Like, did we would have talked about Planet of the Dead when it hit British airwaves.
It did, yeah.
sure we
Obviously,
would have,
We wouldn't have
but-
waited till the North American
like the next week. No, we wouldn't have done that. But I don't like. I feel like we were in the midst. Like we haven't missed a Sunday, or whenever. We haven't missed a week on this podcast since like 2007 or 8.
The only time we came close was when you, in a sleep-deprived state, did it from the airport, which
Yeah.
I'm still impressed with.
Yeah, I remember that. So so this is less a Doctor Who look back at history, more of like a Radio Free Skaro look back at history. Yeah, I don't know how late we waited. Maybe we waited. I know we waited later for Waters of Mars, which is on a Sunday. I remember because Chris, you came over to my place and we
watched it a couple times, and then we recorded that night.
They recorded, so that must be what we did for Planet of the Dead too. So anyway, what time of the day did Planet of the Dead, our review of, come out on April 11th? 2009.
April 13th is when we...
What?
Radio for Skaro number 134, The Planet of Michelle Ryan, we called it.
God, what the hell were we thinking? We waited 2 days to put that out? What is wrong with us?
Yeah, we had ratings to talk about.
I like how you're scolding past Steven on this one.
I know. Oh, we were just pups back then. We were just fresh off our first Gallifrey one. Nobody knew who we were yet. We didn't have a public to think about, and
this is taking a bit of a turn I'm not too comfortable with.
Hopes and dreams to fulfill at that point, Warren.
Okay, you might be full of BS.
Didn't have it. April 12th. Is
no, it's Good Friday. I guess it aired on.
Oh, it's a Good Friday.
BBC One. I don't know. I'm looking at April calendar on April 2009. It says Friday. The 10th.
That makes sense.
Friday.
That makes sense because it doesn't. Easter Sunday does not ring a bell. So
yeah.
So we just waited till the Sunday. We waited till the Sunday is what we did.
Well, the Monday is what it says here, but yeah.
Well, it probably came on Monday in the UK, but whatever.
I don't know.
There you go, everyone. That's what happened on that weekend, that very confusing weekend for this podcast in 2009. Hope you enjoyed that. April 12th.
I'm completely confused still about
April 12th. April 12th, momentous day in history. 3 stories. The first being the most important. The Space Pirates, Episode 6, aired on April 12th, 1969. You think I'm joking. It's the only episode of Doctor Who that featured the regular cast to not have the regular cast in the studio during a recording. They pre-filmed their entire contribution to that because they're off filming location stuff for the War Games, which took an extra week. So there. That's why, listen, folks, I would be desperate to see all of the Space Pirates, particularly Episode 6, because none of the regular cast are in the studio during the making of that. It's fascinating to me. Obviously, I'm the only one on this podcast who has that obsession. But
absolutely.
Genesis of the Daleks wraps up April 12th, 1975. It's so weird that them floating off in the distance with Tom Baker's speech. Out of their evil must come something good. Gives me chills to this day. I love that episode of Genesis of the Daleks. Very, very much. It's a good story.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fantastic story. People who say otherwise are wrong.
I know. Weren't you down on it a little bit, Chris? Haven't you sort of soured a little bit on Genesis? Was it you?
Quite a lot,
yeah.
Yeah, quite a lot. It's one I used to really enjoy. Now it's... No, it's not. But,
Yeah. Well... As a keeper of received fan wisdom, Chris, I am here to tell you that you're wrong. Your opinion of this is wrong.
Well,
you can't possibly have feelings about things.
Let me segue to my favorite story from Series 4, The Fires of Pompeii.
Here we go. Yeah. April 12th, 2008.
Peter Capaldi, tour de force.
Peter Capaldi and Karen Gillan feature for the first and last time in Doctor Who, because you can never recast people who have been in Doctor Who as regular parts of Doctor Who.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember I had to look closely for when Karen Gillan was announced as being Amy Pond. I had to look where was she in far as, because she had like face paint on and stuff, and not really a speaking role. Like it was a very small role, but she was there. It's unmistakably her. But of course, Peter Capaldi is he's Peter Capaldi, and he's the best. He's my favorite Doctor. It's a good story. Good story. James Moran novelizing it, coming out in July is what he's doing there. So. His only contribution to Doctor Who as well. Apart from Torchwood, of course, but where he killed Yanto.
Which is not Doctor Who, but yeah.
Which is not Doctor Who, no. What else we got here? Cold War. You want to talk about Cold War? April 13th,
I like
2013.
It has its charms.
I like Cold War.
Yeah? What do you like about
First
Cold
time
War?
we see a nice warrior outside of their armor, which I don't know that we needed to see the Ice Warrior outside of the armor, but I loved what was done with the armor sans Ice Warrior.
Right.
Especially the whole scene where they're talking to Skaldak, not realizing that it's just the armor that they're talking to. Like, that was a really well-written scene.
Yeah. Douglas McKinnon directed that. That was a good bit of undersea directing there from Douglas McKinnon.
Yeah.
Also, I love it when they take an old monster do something new with it, which is what they did here. Like,
Oh, yeah.
because the Ice Warriors, they'd kind of done everything they could do with it in the classic series, including making them the quasi good guys. So now that they did this and had this whole other aspect to it that you never thought about before, I kind of liked, which you really couldn't have done before anyway due to CGI.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it was a cool idea.
Yeah, I speaking of Toby Haydock again, he's sort of has, I know he's kind of annoyed with Cold War because they basically take the things that were cool about the Ice Warriors and then don't use them. And one of them was the voice, but I feel like, kind of like with the Sea Devils, we hear like 4 words out of a Sea Devil in the trailer for Legend of the Sea Devil. That voice, Skaldak, like that would not...
No, it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work in a modern TV setting because A, it's kind of slow, it's really quiet, and there's modern sound mixes to take into account. So I think you kind of have to change the voices a bit. So
Also, we
My
have
my
David,
main gripe is David Warner. There's not enough of him, frankly.
But I was going to say his fascination with Duran Duran is epic.
Okay, that is good, but
yeah, and Ultravox and everything else. Yeah, David. That took a long time for David Warner to be in Doctor Who.
Was this before or after Unbound?
Oh, well
it's
after.
after.
Well
Way
after. Yeah, well after. Yeah. Yep. Well after. Here you go, Warren. This is your time. April 14th, 2007. Gridlock.
Excellent. You are wrong, Chris. Just this twice in one time flash that you've been wrong.
Yeah. What do you love about Gridlock, Warren?
I love all the shenanigans and jumping around between the cars and all the variety of the people, like all the fun characters in it. And then I love all the stuff with the face of Bo, which to this day gets me right in the feels.
Oh.
Like when he says "You are not alone," I'm like, oh, I know how this plays out, and I don't care. I love it anyway. That whole last section is fantastic.
Kudos to the set designers for redressing the same set 18,000 different ways for the different cars, I guess.
Also, sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say Ardal O'Hanlon, who's great. And of course, the baby kittens. Can't go wrong with baby kittens.
Of course not. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Brannigan's great. I just love him. And also, besides all that, this is completely me going against what I just said, but the whole thing about the face of Bo being Jack, in my headcanon, that is not the case. It's just a jape that he tells him as he saunters off to do some more Torchwooding. That's my headcanon. I'm sticking to it.
Sure, why not? That could be yours. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, Warren.
Yeah, it actually doesn't matter. It's true.
No, doesn't matter.
Outside chance, it's all make-believe anyway, so.
Yeah.
I mean, the Macra, like, they were there.
Oh, no. We had very little in the way of classic hat tips, and so
It was,
I was all
remember,
for it at the time.
Yeah. I remember at the time being shocked that the like of all the classic monsters to bring back, it's like the Macra.
Why the hell not?
This is of course years and years and years and years before the DVD animation and whatever where you like Macra Terror, just very little of it was there, and what you and what you could see, man, the Macra were bad back when they produced that show.
Well, I mean, it kind of felt like, we need a creature on the bottom of this planet who is basically living off the poison.
Fit.
It's like they didn't write it for like we should use the Macra in something. It's like what should we use? We could use the Macra.
Neither did RTD come up with a different or another monster to be there instead of the Macra. Like props for using the Macra there. It's a great fit, but
like Chibnall did, because when he wrote Legend of the Sea Devils, which is coming up on Sunday, he had like, what should we use? We should use another beast or something like that. Oh, wait a minute, we're basically describing the Sea Devils. Let's just use the Sea Devils, which is that's perfect. That's how I like references. You're not shoehorning it in. You're thinking we've already created a situation. We're looking for a monster. Wait a second, we already have one.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
No, you don't.
Now, you can go back to the well too many times, but I can't say you can't make that argument with the Sea Devils.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's the Macra are relative. They're a MacGuffin. They're just there to sort of provide some sort of tangible threat to the cars. Yeah, so that you're not just fighting against pollution, which honestly, giant crabs are less than fighting pollution when it comes to the trials and tribulations that we go through every day on this planet Earth. What do we got here? Hey, there's two. Speaking of the face of Bo, New Earth. Mm-hmm. He appears in New Earth on April 15th,
Series
2006.
Series 2 kicks off. Yep.
Yes. David Tennant's
And
first
more cats that we
episode.
had in Gridlock originated here.
That's true.
She's great in that. She's great in both. And that New Earth is just a lot of fun.
I liked New Earth. I know a lot of people were saying,
with a great
yeah, it's
touching
comedy.
ending too. I always liked the ending of it.
Oh yeah, with what's her name?
Chip.
Chip and Cassandra dying.
Cassandra at the party. Yeah. I mean,
Here we go.
I'm probably making more of it than at the time. I hated the whole body swap thing.
16 years ago, Chris. Think about where you
The
were.
whole body swap thing and whatever. But
16 years ago.
You're gonna have a
is what
whole
it
new
is.
era of RTD to hate. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of kicking off seasons, the pilot, Series 10, Peter Capaldi's last, Bill's first, Series 10, 2017, April 15th. The pilot aired. I haven't watched that in a while.
5 years. Yeah.
5 years
being
ago.
quite fun.
I enjoyed it. I remember the beginning being really interesting because it was just like a static shot of an office, and there's Nardole, who we sort of know from the previous Christmas special, coming in there, and then Bill's there. I just thought it was an interesting way to introduce a new companion. That she's already there, sort of thing. Or we get kind
Speaking
of an
of
interview.
speculative received fan wisdom, remember the fact that he had a picture of Susan on his desk and sonic screwdrivers? So instantly a million fan theories blossomed. That surprise led to nothing.
A picture of River.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
His wife. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite things from the pilot had nothing to do with the pilot within the episode, but the 2018 Gallifrey one, because there's always water dispensers set up so you can keep hydrated, and somebody went around to a bunch of the water dispensers and wrote a little note that they stuck to it saying, "This is Heather," or something like that, referring to the puddle of heather at the end of the pilot.
Wow, that feels well.
Weird.
She did come back in the end, weirdly, but yeah. Here, what do you say, Warren? Here's what.
I just said weird. This just seems weird.
Sorry, it does seem this is Doctor Who fandom we're talking about.
That's true.
So now it's your turn, Stephen. We'll get you to talk about your favorite aliens, the Slovene and their Aliens of London debut.
Here's where I join you in the RTT bash train because I
April
still love the
16th,
Slovene.
every 16th, 2005. I remember there are lots of publicity and hype and podcasts and radio, probably not podcasts, radio programs about it. And there was an hour-long thing, which I think I still have somewhere. It was on BBC Radio or something, just basically previewing the new series of Doctor Who. And it was very exciting because, hey, this is a new series of Doctor Who, and there's stuff about it, which is great. And I remember they had clips of upcoming episodes, and one of them was Doctor Who in the form of Christopher Eccleston saying, "Do you mind not farting while I'm trying to save the world?" And I thought, that's just an outtake, right? They wouldn't put fart gags in Doctor Who.
Oh, no, sir.
They put fart gags in Doctor Who.
It's pretty excruciating. Having said that, Boomtown is great still.
Annette Badland is wonderful. Yes,
she is excellent. Yes.
If anything, Aliens of London. It was Aliens of London is. It's not the best, but it's intriguing that this is the first thing they more or less shot, because they shot most of this before they shot Rose. They introduced Unit again. Oblique, sort of they're kind of reference and stuff, but
we had Harriet Jones introduction.
Harriet Jones, but it just they play up the fact that, folks, we are doing a cliffhanger because they build up for 5 minutes that three different people are under threat. It's the biggest build up of a relatively common cliffhanger in the series history, but it's almost like, yes, cliffhangers are back.
But it also feels like when you see the resolution of that cliffhanger, basically the modern series equivalent of a zoom in on Colin Baker's face.
100%.
Yeah, I like the vinegar one, but
and then of course they the next week they just deal with it before the opening credits, which they still were figuring out how to do cliffhangers in those early days. 17 years ago, folks. 17 years ago, Aliens of London aired. We're all here to make you feel old, as we do every week here in the time lash. Let's move on to some Big Finish stuff before we. By God, we're going for we go on forever on the show. We're really sorry, or B, you're welcome, depending on your point of view. If you like lots of banter or too much. Big Finish in June, the Seventh Doctor adventures continue with Silver and Ice coming out. Yes, there are Cybermen, and yes,
multiple versions.
One of which is a 1980 Cyberman. So obviously they're listening to me and me alone. They've recorded this probably in 2019. Let's face it. It's coming out in June of 2022. You can pre-order it. Also there's a Fifth Doctor one. Fifth Doctor 42, numeral 2, because it's the 40th anniversary of the Fifth Doctor. So they're putting various things out this year to celebrate that fact. Yeah, it's great that the Doctor Who is facing the Autons in this, but the best thing is that Peter Davison, there's a photo of him reading his lines remotely in his little production booth at home that, of course, he's had set up since the pandemic started. He's wearing his Fifth Doctor costume.
Yep.
He's wearing the costume.
Between As a fellow sound booth and a closet guy, I support this.
Between this and his trolling of David Tennant at that convention last week, I assert my claim that Peter Davison is the greatest former Doctor. He's just the best. Agree. Just great.
I like what you said, the Jimmy Carter of Doctors.
He is a Jimmy Carter Doctor. September 22 is when that comes out, so you can pre-order it. You can pre-order it now from BigFinish.com. Hey, speaking of animated stuff, Galaxy 4, we talked about that like an hour and a half ago on this podcast. Josh Snares, who of course is a prominent Doctor Who YouTuber, did a whole 60-minute animation to go with the Big Finish Out of Time thing. Like, he animated the whole thing. It's pretty impressive, to be fair. Have you watched? I watched. I admit it. I watched.
Have not seen it yet.
A few of the clips and stuff. But I mean, if quote unquote fans and stuff, not saying that Josh Snares is just a fan, but someone just sort of doing this in their spare time can do stuff like this. It just speaks to the technology that exists, that you're able to sort of do some flash animation for missing episodes or Big Finish. It's really intriguing. What an interesting thing.
Yeah, it was something that he was doing for himself, more or less, as well.
Yeah,
and just there was enough demand from others who were aware of his efforts that he put it out, and Big Finish retweeted it, so they're cool with it, I guess. I guess it should be said that the audio for the Big Finish stuff is not part of this. It's expected that you go and drop your $10 or whatever on the Big Finish thing, so you can listen along to the animation. But I mean, yeah, that's. I'm trying to think of the Herculean efforts required for if somebody ever wanted to go through and do animation for all the Big Finish releases.
Yeah, this is
an insane idea that nobody should ever do.
We got better than 20 years of releases here, so I mean,
yeah. This is the opposite of our commentary. Really, is that
don't throw that gauntlet, Chris. You're going to put somebody in an early grave.
Mm-hmm. We're watching. We're watching Planet of Evil later on this podcast, but you can't see it, but you can hear us talk about it. Well, this is the exact opposite. It's you can watch the visuals.
One could even call it lazy Doctor Who, or not.
No, it's actually not lazy Doctor Who, Warren. It's the exact opposite doing animation like this.
That's what I'm saying. Our version is lazy Doctor Who.
Yeah, but that's copyright though, so you
yes,
can't.
I know it's copyright. Well, except you haven't copyrighted it, so
no,
there is that.
Anyway, links to the show notes on Josh Snare's YouTube channel. The Hugo Award finalists were announced this past week. Oddly, for the first time in a long time, Doctor Who there's no perfunctory Doctor Who nominated episode in the Best Presentation short form. Doctor Who shut out. I nominated Village of the Angels. I thought that was a cracking episode and deserved to be recognized, but nope. The bloom is off Doctor Who, according to the Hugo Awards. Now it's all Lower Decks this and Expanse that. Gone.
It's a conspiracy.
It is. Uncanny Magazine, though, is once again a finalist, and thus I am a finalist again for as part of the team that puts the best semi-pro zine together. Of course, along with all the other nominees. So that they're handing those out in Chicago in September. In Chicago, as I said. So. Mm-hmm. There you And the last bit of news is the obituaries, which we always do. Because we're from Canada and we only watch Doctor Who, we can tell you that one-time Doctor Who actress who appeared in one story, the Time Warrior, June Brown, passed away at the age of 95. That's past week, of course. She was in EastEnders for decades. And so that's what people more fondly remember her for, but not us, because we're Doctor Who fans. So...
First I thought that was June Hudson. I was like, no. Okay.
No, June Hudson.
Still bad. Somebody died. Don't get me wrong.
June Brown.
She has 6 children. Holy cow.
Well, that was the style at the time. Remember the British, it did OBE too and everything, so, which you got in 2008. So yeah, played Doc Cotton for all those years. I know of the character name of Doc Cotton, mostly because of a Thick of It reference. So there. Once again,
I only know it because it reminds me of Dot Matrix and Mainframe. If we're going to go drill deep into Canadian nonsense, just in a response.
The Dot Matrix isn't really Canadian, but yeah,
not really.
Mainframe is sure.
This has been Clueless Canadians react to long-time British celebrity deaths.
God. Please don't make that YouTube ever.
No. On that note, please stick with us, folks. It's time for episode 4 of our classic series commentary for Planet of Evil.
Are the microphones wired in?
All round the condenser, most merciful. We're looking forward to excellent duodecaphonic sound.
This is the moment when I get a real feeling of job satisfaction.
Welcome back to the Doctor Who Classic Series Commentary. It's Doctor Who Planet of Evil, Part 4, the finale to this story, which I believe Philip Hinchcliffe said in the documentary that the viewing report said that basically 1 in 5 people, not viewers, people in the UK watched Planet of Evil. This is what TV viewing was like back then, and how popular Doctor Who was.
So does that mean somebody's standing in front of a TV repair shop with all the TVs going, and they go, "Cyril, you've got to see this." They pull Cyril over, but he's only half looking because there's soccer scores to look at on football scores to look at a different rival television store.
Yep. And now 1 in 5 people in the UK have COVID.
What an age we live in of plague and disease and despair and incipient fascism. Hooray!
Anyway. All right. On that gleeful note, let's dip back into a giant antimatter monster preventing a ship from leaving its planet. Here we go. I hope you got your legally purchased NFTs all ready to go. It's Planet of Evil Part 4 in 3, 2, 1, play.
I got hacked. I have no apes.
I just took a screenshot of the NFT. I'm good.
Oh God, it'd be amazing if COVID, I got hacked, my apes are gone, and NFTs all were completely passe by the time this hits the regular feed.
I really hope they will be.
Oh my God,
that would specifically be COVID. I can deal with the other two being around.
Well, honestly, I'd go for one of the three. If that was passe by this time, that would make 2022 a great year.
Although I did have the thought today, am I really going to go out any more than I do now once COVID is over? I wonder.
Hermits United.
You look like this. This is what happens. This is you.
Oh, I mean, I will look like this. That's today. That's every day. That's getting up and that's going to bed.
You're going to dress all in brown. It's going to be velour.
Yeah, on some really dodgy looking bed, and just gotta bury my face in it and go, I can't take it.
My eyes are orange.
This is me about 4 a.m. today. Actually, this morning I woke up at 4:30 and could not get back to sleep. This is basically what I felt like. Those two in those tubes. I didn't have guys in very low. It's not a V-neck, whatever those are. Crew collars,
scoop neck or something. Yeah,
yelling at each other over top of me. Luckily, because that would be an entirely different setup.
It kind of looks like when you wash your shirts too much and hang to dry, and the neck just gets all loose and stuff, and it's just like time to abandon those. I haven't seen this guy. He's got a speaking role, whoever he is. Mm-hmm. He's about to die, probably, by the looks of him. Yeah, he's dead.
And quit telling us what your job is. Just do it, bro.
This is yeah. There's that control again. Wow, that gets
Same
around.
panel. Yep.
Yeah.
Just turn around. That makes it different,
Yeah.
Because you turn it around 180 degrees.
Good old Wyszynski.
The Wyszynski method, starring Michael Douglas.
Never watched that either. Wyszynski. Let's see. Ewan Solon was born in 1917, which means this is 1975. Chris, do the math for me. What is that?
58.
58. He's 58 here. Warren Wyszynski's only 7 years older than you are right now.
I can't wait till you guys are also in the post-50 club and this ragging ceases.
Yeah, you'll be almost 60 by then. So
no, I won't.
Moisturize. Moisturize is the important part. Keep your skin supple. Also, don't have children to suck your life force. Yeah,
that's true. That is true. Yes,
some good acting there from Tom Baker. Like, look at this. This is Tom Baker and Elizabeth Sladen at the height of their powers, and we've barely talked about them in this entire commentary.
Shameful individuals, frankly.
What a duo! What a duo!
I mean, she's pretty great with Pertwee too.
Yeah, but
she's so much better with Tom.
This is it. This is it. Yeah.
This is, yeah.
It's just natural. It just feels natural.
Well, there's a reason she's the favorite companion of all time, and it's this era.
Even in lousy stuff like Android Invasion, she's still spectacular.
Yeah.
Like, I think she
and
still
their
is.
relationship is still spectacular.
I mean, it's been almost a decade now since Elizabeth Sladen's been gone. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're not.
And yet, I guarantee you she's still the favorite companion of all time.
She died in 2011, didn't she? Is that when it was?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Oh, God, that's tragic. Wow. It's been 11
15 years ago was when Sarah Jane Adventures started.
Yeah, I think she died in 2011. Like, not long after. Like, Nicholas Courtney and Elizabeth Sladen died, like, within a couple of months of each other. Terry Walsh in the back there.
I say this, but
so
tons of people, Rose is their number one companion of all time, right? So, and who am I to say otherwise?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's Sarah Jane or it's Rose. I mean, as much as anything, it's going to depend on
it's who you came in with, and more likely than not, if you're our age, you came in with Tom Baker and Sarah Jane, and if you're not our age, if you came up with the new show, it's probably going to be David Tennant and Rose. Yeah.
So right there is a CSO screen where some film footage is being played in live off another source on that one shot there. Of course, they couldn't move the camera because that would have looked bad.
And an old guy at 58, if he hit the source button, he'd just get to a blank screen and not know what's going on.
Yep. It can happen. It can happen quite easily. I remember in the Pirate Planet, they were reacting to something on, like, the captain and Mr. Fibuli were looking at the screen there, and K9 was going, that's a scale model right there, and K9 was going into this hut. And they were supposed to be reacting to it, but Kanon had already gone into the hut, and they were reacting to him already being still being there.
I love these big door montages. I know montage is the right word. But
Janet Fielding reacting to the materializing Dalek in Resurrection before it even shows up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's up there with Adric and the keyboard at the end of Earthshock.
That was like take 4. I didn't realize that was like basically take 4 or 5 of that. So you could tell why Matthew Watt. Yeah, for worse. So they tried to. That's like Mr. Burns getting thrown around the doors. Oh, we did 20 takes, and that was the best one.
So basically, that means the director's like, Waterhouse, you're never going to get this. You're dead
just
in
take
3
it.
seconds. Just okay.
We got to do this.
Cut. Print.
It's like 9:58 p.m. We got to do this. Sorry, Waterhouse.
I like how nobody's calling him by his first name. You're just taking fan disdain and transposed it onto the crew at the time.
Kind of like, I don't call Jar Jar Binks I don't call him Jar Jar. I just call him Binks because it's more fun to me to call him Binks.
It sounds like more business, like Mr. Binks.
Binks, get the hell out of here. Yeah.
Misa somewhere else, would you please?
You're also going to lose your job.
Oh, boy. Phantom Menace is 1999, folks. Just if you're keeping score at home.
23 years almost.
23 years old.
I was still in my 20s when I saw that film, bizarrely. Not barely, but I was.
Phantom Menace is older now than Star Wars was, and they made Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace, first time I saw it in the theater. I went several times in the theater.
Good effect there.
It was at a 3 a.m. showing.
Wow. Remember those?
At West Ed. Yeah, and they had like all throughout the night, literally all night, they had different staggered start times for.
That doesn't surprise me.
I don't know how many theaters were running it, out of the.
Yeah, I remember seeing it 7 p.m. opening day or so, and going, "Oh, I wish I could have seen it before this." Wish I didn't after I'd seen it, but never mind.
There you go. There's Chekhov's glowing red thing.
I love Maloney's camera use here. Like all the oh man, it's so good. High
really
shots and
dramatic, good shots. Like, but not like flashy. Like I feel like he's, impressive visually, but not like he's not like a Star Trek Discovery director. Yeah, he's not flipping that thing around on a gimbal for no reason at all. Although that camera just moved and wiggled a little bit there to try and line up that shot.
That was probably against union regs.
Yeah.
Lately,
wiggling around on a gimbal.
Over the last handful of days, we've been watching or rewatching, as the case may be, in some David Fincher's oeuvre. Other than Alien 3, skip that one.
All right.
How dare you?
So many shots of him where he's just using a camera and it just progresses forward like into or through things or over countertops or.
Here's my defense of
They're good or
Alien
bad?
3, and I'm going to invoke Steven for this.
Paul McGann?
Well, him and many others. I remember seeing it in the theater, and I pulled to Steven. I was like, hey, that guy, it's the guy from Attack of the Cybermen, and it's that other guy, and Charles Dance, he's from this, and da. So because I'd watched so much British TV, I knew way more of the cast than anybody else in the theater except my sister who watched it with me. And so I just remember going, the dude from Attack of the Cybermen in this, I don't care how bad it is.
Brian Glover. Apparently, they tried to get Richard E. Grant because Fincher wanted to reunite with Nell and I for an Alien movie, but E. Grant was not had no part of it.
Iconic Richard E. Grant.
He was already iconic, so he didn't do it.
I mean, Paul, I think it was either Paul McGann or one of his best friends, who was also in the movie, who wrote a diary every day, and I think maybe it was Paul McGann, and this actor, whoever it might have been, kept saying that his and Paul McGann's roles kept getting flipped around, and like he was this guy this day and this guy that day before they finally started shooting. And it was just like McGann's role wasn't the one you saw originally.
And then basically, as McGann, he might have been embellishing this for a convention audience, but he said to me basically they bought houses for being on because they had to shoot the film twice essentially because
it took forever. Yeah.
But by the time they actually filmed McGann's role, it was a lot less.
It was very truncated, disappointingly so.
I never saw that movie, but
at least he got to shave his head for it.
The thing is, it's not a good movie, but it definitely, much like Phantom Menace, it has good elements that don't add up to a good movie in a very different way. You can definitely see Fincher's potential as you're watching it.
I want to say, speaking of set design, we weren't, that the floor is the same floor that we see in another Roger Murray Lee joint, The Ark in Space, I think.
It does look pretty similar.
Yeah.
If they're reusing props, well, why not?
They probably are.
Pieces.
There's a lot of stuff from that now that I think about it. The control panel, obviously, which might have been hired out. Maybe that's why it appeared
Look
on
at that
James
Boogie
Bond.
Van window right
They're
behind
reusing
him.
Tom Baker.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're using Tom Baker. He was there. Michael Wisher was in one of those. Yeah, I mean, in Revenge.
This is like the end of Breaking Bad, where he's finally reunited with his true love, the meth-making machine.
I watched that, but I don't remember it. I remember the camera move. I remember when Walter White's returns to his ex-wife's house, and she's on the phone.
That is a great move. Yes,
God, what a camera shot! Very simple. None of this camera on a bungee cord kind of thing that they got in TV nowadays.
it was probably Gilligan directing as well.
Probably was actually.
Well,
Vince
I don't
Gilligan,
actually know, but
not
the
Bob
way
Denver,
I've
but
been watching a video essay about it, and they said that every single reason that camera moves is there's a reason for it to move. It's not just a bunch of flying around nonsense.
There's a lot. This is going to sound stupid because
All right.
there's a lot more depth to that show, and even Better Call Saul for that matter, than it looks like there is on the surface. Despite the fact that on the surface there's a lot of depth.
Especially in Better Call Saul, which seems like just a dumb idea. And then you watch it like, oh no, this is actually a pretty compelling show.
I haven't watched that one. I don't know.
The final season.
I appreciated Breaking Bad more than I enjoyed it, I think. But
Well, if you want fine quality Mike Aaron Trout content, and you should, then it's not Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul is a show for you because there's tons of it.
And no spoilers, but Michael McKean is a crazy person.
He's great at it. Actually, I can't think of a bad person in it, frankly. And I've only watched the first 2 seasons. I haven't seen the 3rd season yet, which I think is still out there.
we're going full Prentice here.
All right, sorry.
That's all right. Nobody steps over Prentice Hancock's final performance here because he gets killed pretty quickly here. Did that work for you? Did that work? Blah, you're dead now. What do you think of that?
Antimatter turns you into a wolfman.
Look at this. Oh, wow.
That's an album cover, man.
Top
That
of
is
the
an album
pops,
cover.
man. That was like Jethro Tull circa 1975.
Frampton does not come alive.
No, he does not.
Ooh, boy.
That was a little more of the, what's that called? The old whistle test? Or
Old gray whistle
Old
test.
Gray Whistle Test. Which always struck me as a very strange name for a show.
It's there's a long backstory to what that means. I'm a fan of the Old Gray Whistle Test and the shots of it. I watched some stuff of it. I have a T-shirt. I wore a T-shirt on stage at Gallifrey 1 of the logo from the Old Gray Whistle Test. Thanks for no one for noticing that. Did it for you British people of a certain age. Didn't get a single comment.
It's a bit of a niche. And if anybody's going to notice, it's going to be Gallifrey 1. But.
That's true. Yeah, I've seen it. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's Tom Baker reacting to nothing. That's another thing that has advanced. You know, it's Tom Baker acting to nothing. No tennis ball, no person in a green suit, nothing. Whereas now...
He's pretty good, though. It's pretty good.
Now they went to tennis balls to basically, and then, Andy Serkis in a green suit, essentially. Yeah.
Well.
Like that's the standard now. Now is the standard where they have this basically fake prop in the middle, so everybody can at least have something to react to.
It is insane what you can do, though. Like I remember watching it. Rogue One's a few years old now, but not the fake Leia or fake Grand Moff Tarkin. But when you go into that room, like the cockpit, that's supposed to look like what the cockpit would have looked like in the original, the Blockade Runner. That's all styrofoam. They just mapped out graphics on top of that with the actor sitting there. It's insane, and it looks like. Unless I saw that happen, I wouldn't have known. Like, it's crazy. And also the armor, like, because of the insane scheduling of Avengers Endgame, which is the true special effect of the entire thing, by the way. Though nobody's wearing armor as they're walking towards their time pod thing, their time travel. That's all them just in probably leotards.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Wow.
because that's all CG. And again, it looks like costumes to me.
Also, cats.
Yeah, okay. For every example like that, where you have $1 zillion to throw at the problem,
Maybe we could do it. Maybe we could do it with cat fur too, is what they said. What a great keyboard! What a great keyboard! Look at that display unit.
I think Cats is coming to streaming if it hasn't already, but I'm shocked it took this long.
How's it not? Yeah,
The Idris Elba cats.
yeah, that vehicle, the Judi Dench cats, I believe you think.
I mean, I think I would hate it. I don't think I know I would hate it, but I'm just intrigued by how insane it looks.
Oh, I don't know if I can. I don't know if that is some great pained acting from Tom Baker. I'll be, I'm going out and I'll be sometime quoting what's his name from the Antarctica, but just the way he's leaning against a door, it looks like he's just in agony for some reason. Tom Baker's really good as Doctor Who. Breaking news, folks. I think after watching 3.5 episodes of Doctor Who here tonight, for us has come to...
You're finally sold?
Yeah.
It only took 40 years and 3.5 episodes.
Okay, Canadians, Cats is in fact on Crave. Brace yourselves.
Oh my God.
That garbage dump.
Oh man. I can't have that in my watch history. I mean, what the hell? I can't watch. I cannot do it. I'm sorry. You're going to have to do it yourself, Warren. You're on your own.
Watch it either. I'm not putting myself through that.
Tom Baker reacting to nothing. Couple of extras floating around in some crazy suit. Oh, whoa, man. It's Joe Cocker. Yeah.
You are so beautiful to me.
He does get by with all the help from his friends.
Yeah. What is it with Joe Cocker where he just somehow has this ability to make better versions of already amazing tunes? Like, honestly, get by a little
must be the voice.
With a little help of my friends, and She Came In Through the Bathroom Window are better than the Beatles versions of them.
I don't know that I've heard his version of She Came In Through the Bathroom.
Oh, it's so good.
And also, that's a great Beatles tune. So how much better could it be?
Listen to it. I compel you to play it after this podcast. Joe Cocker, She Came In Through the Bathroom Window.
I will. But also, Get By With a Little Help of My Friends is pretty great, too. Frankly.
It's great.
So.
Yeah. This is a weird lash up. I don't know what this thing is.
I think he had there for other reasons.
Why?
That is my assertion. That is more of an after dark TARDIS accoutrement.
Yeah. What a weird thing. Ooh.
Weirdly enough, the last person he lashed up looked somewhat like this guy.
When he did snip back and kidnap Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull in 1975 for reasons best left unexplored. Like the death of a couple of Spinal Tap drummers. Yeah.
That symbol looks like a guy with a hatchet going, I'm going to kill you.
It does. There's been a few little interesting little logos on doors and stuff. Yeah. Like there. That's a weird one. I'd like to know the story behind those. They must mean something, but...
I know the Esperanto of Red Dwarf drove me mental when I would look at it. Like, I can't look at that. Now I'm reading it. Stop it.
So it's just Wyszynski and... like there were a couple other extras who I don't think we saw get killed, and I don't know where they are. And apparently, at the end of this, Wyszynski has to fly back on his own.
As the bracelet part comes apart as well as the bending of the frame.
We'll just pan away from that before it completely breaks apart. Maybe give it a little less there, Freddie Yeager. I do like just basic doors on spaceships.
I like that whole thing with the doors shutting, even though it is a model effect. I always just love it when they do stuff like that, where they're sealing up all the hallways. I don't know why.
Yeah, the bulkheads.
Exactly, yeah. These are the most ridiculous.
Whereas in Star Trek, it'd all be a glittery visual effect, because it's like a,
Oh, yeah.
energy
beam.
beam.
And it'd be done in post-production, too.
It has taken me this long to realize that's an outline of the actor. It's just a
Oh,
long...
really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not a bottom anymore. Now I'm the top.
Oh, out of focus. Oh, we knew he was coming. It's rare to have both doors open. Don't forget to close them when you're done, Doctor Who.
Well, he wasn't born in a barn.
That's true. That isn't Freddie Yeager, though. That's just an extra, by the way.
It totally looks like Stephen Toast.
I'm in the new Doctor Who.
Looks like what's his face from What We Do in the Shadows.
I'm in
Matt Berry?
antimatter.
Not the Matt Berry one.
Oh, okay.
The other guy.
Yeah.
Why are you holding on to this thing? Like, well, I guess
Set wobbled a bit. Don't look too closely, but the set wobbled a bit there. But you know what? The set wobbles in everything. It's just that you can't cut around it when you're shooting on a multicam videotape. Every set wobbles.
This is like that scene in Poltergeist where all the ghosts are coming down the stairs, except a lot crappier.
I've only seen Poltergeist once because you know what? Because it's I'm not into scary movies, and because it's all practical effects, it feels even scarier. You know what I mean?
I am into scary movies, and it is excellent.
They only removed the headstones.
No, I don't remember that at all.
So here's what I want to know: why did they make Ghostbusters Afterlife
right.
soppy Spielberg instead of genuinely scary Spielberg, which basically Poltergeist is that. So go for that if you're gonna do a Ghostbusters Spielberg.
Toby Hooper, but all right, Toby.
Yeah, Toby Hooper basically got shoved off screen halfway through. But
I think you mean Toby Hooper directed that, Warren.
He did officially direct that. But Spielberg apparently did.
I think you mean Toby Hooper directed that.
His lawyer? What's going on here?
I am. Yeah. I'm Steven Spielberg's lawyer.
Well, then you're a very rich man who isn't wasting his time commenting on Planet of Evil Part 4.
Or are you perhaps his non-union Mexican counterpart?
Yeah, this is a good shot. I like this shot.
Lawyero.
It's just like there's one last menace. Like I'm this big master, big giant beast, and you're on my planet, and get out. That's a really Spartan-looking TARDIS set.
Those roundels I've seen better fan vids with paper plates.
I know. I had paper plates when I was a kid. When I was a teenager, I put paper plates up on the wall.
Because I'm a dork. What are the controls on that roof bit?
Yeah. And we never see.
Oh, is that your code word? Is that your safe word, buddy?
Restaurant.
No, probe ship.
Oh, probe ship.
This man is 18.
No, not the probe ship. That's like a skee ball or something. This the little pipes coming into that room.
Yeah, that's where all the bowling balls go.
Oh, look, one extra survived.
I guess so. I guess we got, all right. Well, guess what? You are now co-pilot, so learn how to fly this ship. Two of them did. Okay, so look at that. They both did. Both those listen, here's the lesson I'm taking from Planet of Evil. Don't aspire to be in acting roles and stuff and like being in like positions of power on a Martian spaceship. Be the lowest rung on that ladder, and you will
a non-speaking extra in your phone.
Yeah, and you will
make
survive.
Sure your uniform is not red. You'll be okay.
You will survive. Yeah. You get listen. Those guys get the same outfit as everybody else, except for Prentice Hancock, who had a Jaguar spaceship on his front. Literally, Wyszynski is wearing the same outfit as the two guard extras, and you all live. So, are you better than Prentice Hancock? Yes, you are.
Answer carefully.
And that's how we did that. There we go.
His name is not Doctor Who. It is the Doctor.
Doctor Who. Oh, they call him Doctor Who because Peter Capaldi started calling him Doctor Who. So. Let's have a look.
Period. Who,
DR period.
Of course.
10.4 million watched to episode 1, 9.9, 9.1, 10.1. We just watched an episode that was watched by 10.1 million people on October 18th, 1975. October 18th, that rings a bell, you know. What happened on October 18th, 1975? Why is that date ringing a bell?
October Crisis. No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. It's 1970.
Mac
Adams. Well, it's going to bug me now why October 18th, 1975 rings a bell.
On Wikipedia, there's no major events that day.
That you know of. I'm talking,
I was going to say, there's probably some Doctor Who esoterica.
What exists in my
October
mind?
18th, 1975. Jon
Pertwee opened a mall.
Oh, maybe.
Somebody called Alex Cora, baseball player.
I know of him. Oh.
An American video game designer called Josh Sawyer was born. That's it.
No, I don't know that. No.
Never heard of him.
I'm sure I won't lie awake tonight thinking about this, so we'll be perfectly fine.
You'll find some other trivial fact to obsess
you'll
over.
be totally fine.
Yeah. Well, this is the part of the podcast. At the end of one commentary, we spin the randomizer to choose another, and this time is no different. So, Chris, you got the randomizer open right now.
It's ready to rock.
And then...
or roll.
Oh, splendid. Well, begin the spinning of it now. There it is.
Going.
There it is. I can hear it. I can hear it right now. So the interesting thing is that we just did 4H, serial code 4H. The one before that was 7H, which is Remembrance of the Daleks. So we could...
so what are 5H and 6H?
Well, there's 5H is... I think City of Death, which you've done. 6H is Enlightenment. I think we might have done that. Have we done that one? I don't know.
No, it's on the list still. It's on there.
And then there's H, which is Reign of Terror. There's 2H, which is the Moon Base. There's 3H, which is Colony in Space.
Is on the list because we've got the animated stuff. So
we've done Colony in Space. 4H is this. 7. So there we go. So those are the H's that are still on the board.
What did you say 2H was?
Moon Base. Or
HH rather? Moon Base?
Yeah, HH, yeah.
That's still on the list as well.
It's on the list as well? Okay, well, let's see if we get one of those or what we get when I tell you to now press stop.
Oh, the Space Museum.
Oh, dear Lord.
Oh, no. Oh, wow.
Get some Boba Fett action in there.
All right, everybody, get your finest spirits and or stimulants.
Oh, we might have to resort to some of that. That's wow.
I love the Space Museum. I'm sorry.
They had to pay Rob Shearman to say nice things about that for the DVD. I mean, this is he usually says nice stuff about anything when it comes to Doctor Who, but they had to pay him to do it for this. So, all right. Here we go. Next time around, folks. It's the Space Museum here on the Radio Free Skaro Classic Series commentary. You've been warned. Until next time.
It's not the Web Planet. We've already done the Web Planet.
That's true. All right. Look at the pauses. All right. Until next time, everyone. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And on the planet Zeros, I'm Chris.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreescaro.com, follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro, subscribe to us on iTunes, and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.